Dennis, thank you. Next up here tonight, immigrant communities in Florida living in fear. Local families terrified that their loved ones could be detained or deported randomly without warning.
And new tonight, we're listening to voices on the ground, hearing firsthand how that fear is turning into a daily reality. Tampa Bay 28 reporter Michael Paluska sat down with a nonprofit leader, an immigration attorney, and an undocumented mom as her American-born children now shoulder the burden of adult responsibility.
The choices left for many: hide, reapply, or seek asylum. Each come with dangerous consequences.
We're sitting here in 7th Avenue in Ybor City. Ybor City is the origin story of so many Hispanic Americans. What does it mean to sit here, and what is it like to know where they were then compared to where we are now?
It saddens me that at this stage in the game, we're having an old conversation about whether or not immigrants bring value to this nation. I'm hoping and praying that we can get beyond that.
We sat down with Elizabeth Gutierrez, founder and CEO of Enterprising Latinas, to talk immigration and what she's seeing in her community of Waimama.
And we've already experienced losses in funding because of who we are as an organization, who we serve, and what we do. Well, we serve not just women, but also men that come to the community, that live in the community. So we've served on an annual basis, we serve over 2,500 people. And of those 2,500, 500 households receive access to the internet for free as a result of a network that we've been able to create that provides free internet access.
But now Gutierrez says families are going underground, in hiding, missing out on resources.
Fear is definitely an issue, but action is more powerful. And so, just like me, there are so many others that are standing strong and saying, I belong here as well as anybody else. And I contribute to this country, and I deserve to be a beneficiary of what we create in this country.
What's the fear that you have every day?
Every day, just going out there, getting caught, and not see my kids anymore. I can go to the store, go see my kids play soccer, and I can be in place of any of them.
We spoke to this mom and grandmother willing to talk on camera and share her story, but she is undocumented. Out of ethical concern, we are not using her name or showing her face. She told us in Spanish, no somos todos malos. We are not all bad. What is the feeling that you get about what the government thinks about you as a person?
Well, I think he has bad concept about us. I know a lot of people out there, they're not good people, but most of us are good people. I'm trying to do my best, to stay here in the country. I pay my taxes every year, like everybody. I pay my business taxes. And I think not all the people out there are bad, like he wants to,
So, I had 2 clients today, and both of them were petrified of being arrested.
Amel Ursan's worked as an immigration attorney for 3 decades. We first sat down with Ursan after Trump's 2024 victory. Then she believed undocumented, violent criminals would be at the top of the list. Now she calls it a deportation machine, coming after anyone who is undocumented. Would you advise your clients to hide out as long as they could?
I wouldn't. You have absolutely no power. We talk about procedural rights. Yeah, when you have already a deportation order, you have no procedural rights left. So basically, you're immigration meat. They could just grab you and take you. You don't even have the right to a lawyer or a hearing. So now what that means is that they can detain you for months and months. Now, if you continue asking for the relief that you want, then the government says, okay, stay in jail and wait for us to call you. So now you could be in detention for years before you're called. That's not plausible. Like, I had an Albanian lady. She was 65 years old. She had a deportation from 30 years ago. I begged her not to apply for a green card that she wanted to through her now adult child. And she said, no, they wouldn't deport me just because I have a deportation order from 30 years. And I said, no, I don't recommend it. But she did it. Within a week, her daughter was crying in my waiting room, telling me that they picked up her mother. I talked to the deportation officers and I said, come on, guys, what are you doing now? picking up 65-year-old grannies, like no criminal record, deportation order from 30 years ago. Like, you have nobody else to pick up? And he basically said, well, she applied for something with immigration, and we saw that she had an underlying deportation order, so he went and picked her up.
Is there a legal way to look at it through a humanitarian lens?
So there's no humanitarian relief. So, I mean, you could cry all day and say, you know, my daughter has cancer, I don't have any money, you know, like, they don't care. It's really a shame. I mean, I think that these immigrants are a victim of previous administrations just basically not following the law, because Trump hasn't changed any of the laws. I mean, Congress has not enacted any new laws. They're just basically implementing what they refused to implement before. And of course, that was to the detriment of immigrants as well, because they came in here with all these hopes of asylum, work cards. You know, they got showered with all these legal benefits that they thought were going to end up in some legalization. But it turns out that it was just built on a house of cards, because asylum is hard to win. It's very difficult to win asylum.
Tiene que ser fuerte para los niños, ¿no? You have to be strong for the kids.
Sí, tengo que ser muy fuerte.
Daily, this mom tells her American-born children, if she gets picked up and doesn't come home, not to look back, stay on the right track, go to school, and support each other. Because if her American dream ends, theirs won't.
Ellos van a tener el sueño americano. They're going to have the American dream. And
Y quiero estar ahí.
you want to be here for it.
In Tampa Bay with photojournalist Reed Moeller, Michael Paluska, Tampa Bay 28.